Hello guys and welcome back to Nitwit Gaming. I'm Andrew, otherwise known as Nitwit, and this is our KSP career playthrough. Now today I thought we would try and finish off this Orbit Kerbin contract and put ourselves in a position where we have a rocket that can get to the moon. The reason why I don't want to land on the moon in this episode is because, mainly because one, I want to keep these episodes to about 20 minutes from now on because I think that's a much better, more digestible time. And two, it's because I want to wait until we finish this orbit thing because then we can get a new mission which will be specifically about going to the moon, and then we can get some excess science off of it. So let's have a look. I've taken the liberty of building, or at least designing, a ship that I think will be able to reach this orbit sort of requirement, hopefully, anyway. I just need to do a couple little adjustments to it because I've just noticed this is the wrong way around. That needs to face that way. I think I just turned that didn't do anything there. This thing, I don't really care where it goes. It can go there. That should be fine, I think. I guess we'll find out. Yeah. Save. Yeah, let's see. Let's find out. If this explodes gloriously on the launch pad, then well, you know. So I heard that they're actually the next patch of this is going to be. Start this off very slowly. The next batch of this is actually going to be it's going to introduce more beautiful explosions, which is a great thing because while the explosions look lovely, I really am looking forward to beautiful high definition explosions and stuff. It's going to be so cool. Anyway, because most of the time I spend the time crashing anyway. Anyway, so I was thinking about the other day, and actually, quite a lot of people might not have played this game or be familiar with the concepts within it. What you've got to do is, this is your nav ball, right? And this represents the middle bit that represents exactly where your spacecraft is pointing, which is why I'm not flying like this, because I know where the spaceship is pointing based on this. The inner circle here, the yellow circle, represents exactly where you are going, where the thrust, where the path of the rocket is taking it, and so I'm pointing right towards that. That's called prograde. It's where grade indicates where your oh look, there's Mimbus, where your rocket is pointing. No, sorry, where it's traveling, and then this chevron represents where it's pointing. Now I'm going to start pitching over. I know this is an inefficient, for those of you who have played this game before, this is a very inefficient ascent profile, and I know that I am doing it because of FAR and the fact that I can't really control these rockets very well at this point because I don't have very many flaps. Anyway, let's drop them off and pitch over. This should be fine. This should actually get us to space, as long as I can slow down. There we go. This should get us to space just fine. Anyway, what I am going to do is I'm going to observe the mystery goo. The goo seems to be getting very cold now. Okay, good observation. Yes. And I'm going to get crew report, and I'm going to transmit that. So you transmit data. You can transmit data. Some of it loses definition, I suppose, would be a good way of describing it. And on the way back down to Kerbin, some of it doesn't. A crew report is something that doesn't. Anyway, so when you take off, you have to pitch towards 90 degrees, which is east, because the planet revolves towards the east, so you get a little bit of boost from the planet's rotation. If you do it the other way, you get a little bit taken away from your speed by the planet's rotation. So I'm gonna go towards the east, and then you've got to increase your apoapsis, which is the highest point of your orbit, up to about 70,000 meters. I go a little bit higher just for a little bit of safety, and then you coast to that point. You turn off your engines and you just coast through the upper atmosphere because it doesn't take too much off through atmospheric sort of slowdown. You coast to the upper point, and then you circularize, or boost at that point, because due to something called the Oberth effect, you get a greater bang for your buck from your fuel if you do it at that point. I'm not going to go into why, because I am not a scientist or a astrophysicist, even though sometimes I wish I was. Just suffice to say, it happens, and you will have to trust me. Anyway, so that's what we're doing right now. We're going to coast to Apoapsis. We are going to get... I might get little Jebediah out and see if he can do an EVA report. No, we've already done one from here. Let's reset that experiment and get back inside. So currently, we've used up one of our mystery goo containers. So these are experiments that you strap onto your rocket to do in space. I'm just going to speed up time a little bit just so that we get to the top here. And when it says node in T minus about 3 seconds, I will start this burn. I'll start it now, why not? And stop. And now I'm just going to zoom out to the map view and sort of do tiny adjustments until this is at 75,000, like that. 75,000, 75,000, that's an almost perfectly circular orbit. There we go, and now we have completed the contract to orbit Kerbal. Right, so using the science that we've gathered here, I think we'll be able to build a rocket that can actually get to space. I mean, not get to space, get to the moon. Now, most people say actually landing on Minmus is easier at the start. I like to go for the moon because I think it's a good early challenge. Not that this game is devoid of challenges anyway, but whatever. Anyway, I'm going to try and land on the day side this time, because last time I failed miserably because we ran out of fuel and I couldn't. So I'm going to just put a little icon there. We're going to revolve around the planet at, what is this? This is 50 times speed. And we're going to get to this point here. I'm going to move this slightly further along because the planet is revolving and I'm a moron for not thinking of that. And then we're going to burn towards, you see this circular thing with a cross through it? That indicates retrograde, which is away from where your spacecraft is traveling. And so if we burn retrograde at any point in the circular orbit, it will bring the other side down and will flow down in this nice little curve here, okay? I hope I'm doing a good enough job of explaining this. It's quite, to be honest, it makes sense once you've seen it done, but before then it's all just very, very complicated nonsense that makes very little sense. So see here, we've burned retrograde and it's brought our orbit down so that we can impact in this desert over here. Of course, the planet will revolve, so probably we'll end up hitting over here. Or hitting, hopefully we won't hit it. Hopefully we'll come down gently to a touchdown, but if we do hit it, that would be bad too. The beautiful clouds beneath us. So I'm just going to speed up time a bit here so that we don't have to wait so long. Speed it up again. Oop. And actually we're going to go look at this way. So I'm going to wait until we hit the atmosphere to deploy this parachute. It doesn't really matter, it deploys automatically if you do it. I just like to wait. And I'm going to open up that mystery goo because I forgot to do it in space because I'm an idiot. Damn. Nope. Ah, damn it. That's really annoying. Anyway, so we're going to start coming down very soon. I'm going to turn off the thing that keeps you straight. And I'm going to open the parachute soon, once we get past these mountains. So the way that we're going through the atmosphere will slowly turn this to the most efficient sort of angle to get through the atmosphere. I'm just going to review the data in this, and review the data in this. Keep data. Right, we're going to reset that experiment because we've done 2 of the same, and I don't really want to do that because that's a waste, because you don't get double the amount of science. You only get a certain amount of science for each location. Now I'm going to set the parachute to open as soon as it can, which should be pretty soon, frankly. I could help this down by using the fuel, but I guess I will. Why not? I like to land in these nice open plains. There's the moon rising over there, over the horizon. Doesn't really matter if we don't stay totally on target here. There we go. All the fuel is burnt. We're now going to speed this up and just wait until... There we go. Now the thing's deployed. And I'm going to deploy these legs. And I think I made a boo-boo here because they're not long enough. Haha. Alright, well that's what happens when you design a rocket in a hurry, I guess. I didn't make the legs long enough. So now probably we're going to knock off this engine. But everything else should be fine. That is unfortunate and sort of hilarious. Alright, well... Can't believe I did that. Alright, so... here we go. We're going to just come through the cloud layer here. Traveling quite fast, but nothing that this parachute can't take. Into the wide open plains of Kerbin. There we go. And I'm just going to speed up time because it takes a long time for these to hit the ground. And that engine is definitely going to knock off when we hit the ground. Boom. Yep. Ooh. 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 Okay, nothing exploded. That's a good thing. Right. Well, that seems like a perfectly acceptable landing to me. Look at him. Brilliant. Well done. Well done. Let's plant a flag. Get an EVA report as well. And let's call this successful landing 1. And also get a surface sample. Or did I already do that? Review report. Yeah, I need a surface sample. Keep that. And get back in here just so that I can do a crew report as well. And do a observe mystery goo. You'd think they'd already have explored their own planet, but clearly the Kerbals just hang around the spaceport and don't do anything else. So we've completed a contract. We've got some more science, and I'm going to use that, and we've recovered our vessel, obviously. I'm going to use that to unlock some new stuff, because what we need to do is we need to get batteries, because they're very important for long-term missions, because otherwise you won't be able to move your craft. I need more science. Obviously, science is always useful. And these engines are very useful, because these engines can thrust vector, which means that they can, rather than just firing the rocket upwards, they can actually alter the thrust. So while you've got the direction of the thrust slightly, so that while you've got the rocket on, you actually have increased maneuverability, and that's very useful with FAR, because FAR tends to make rockets quite unstable and make them hard to control, as we've seen. So I'm going to get that too. Now we're going to go back and we're going to just redesign our... oh, actually, no, first we should get a mission to go to the moon, hopefully. That'll be available. There we go. There we go, explore the moon. Let's get that. And I would read these, but they are gobbledygook because they're procedurally generated, so I'm not going to. And the mission says that we should achieve orbit around the moon, transmit or recover scientific data from space around the moon, land on the moon, transmit or recover scientific data from the surface of the moon. So basically, orbit, science from both the surface and space, and land on the moon. And personally, I always try to recover my missions. I very rarely send probes or anything like that out because I think it's a waste of money, except if I'm using the mods that encourage that sort of action. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to design our next rocket to go to the moon. And this rocket could probably get there. I don't think it could get back though. So what we're going to do is we're going to save it and we're going to rename it to Nitwit 3 and we're going to start working on it. Now I think to land and take off on the moon, we're going to need a better sort of structure for this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to whack one of these on. And this tends to be the sort of design that I use to land on quite a lot of things. Because most planets you can land on with a design like this. It's not the most efficient design, but I personally find it works quite well. You whack 2 of these on here, And this works even with far, because as long as you've got nose cones on, you can use this design in far. Now, oh, actually, normally you need fuel lines for this, and I'm fairly sure I don't have any. Let's actually do a new design then. Let's do a brand new one. In which case, basically, you don't want your landing thing, your landing pod, to be too top heavy, and you don't want it to be too tall. You want it to be nice and squat, so it has a wide base, and the center of gravity is quite low. And you want that center of gravity to stay low when you've landed. So generally, it's better to have a unused central tank of fuel, or at least this is what I find. An unused central tank of fuel is useful because once you've landed, you can use it once you've taken off, but it's useful because it allows you to keep that nice low center of gravity and stop the rocket from basically toppling over. So what we're going to do is we're going to have two rocket engines on the sides, just like I usually do, except this time they're not going to be linked into the main body, because normally I would do that, but I can't this time. We're going to have two rocket pods on the sides, and we're going to have little landing engines on all of them, which is not the most efficient way of doing things, but I'm going to have to do it because I don't have fuel lines which allow you to transfer fuel from one tank to the other. And we're going to, well, it normally takes me quite a while to put these together actually. We're going to put two of those on. We're going to whack one of these on there. We're going to put some science stuff. In fact, I'll probably fit that in there. Oh, didn't mean to press that. Put that there, put that there. Whack some sciencey things on there, like this. Hopefully they won't hit when they decouple. Well, I might move them up just slightly. And then we don't need a ladder on this, of course, because landing on the moon, it doesn't have much gravity. We're going to whack on... Oopsie. We're going to whack on a... Is this a gimbling one? That's a gimbling one, I believe. We're going to whack on that. And... has just enough thrust to get off of Kerbal. And then when that goes off, those go right. Yep. And then we're going to build the lower stage, which is going to be far more powerful than the upper one. And it's going to be lots of these with one of these and some. Does that have the thrust to push that? It still does. No, it doesn't. Okay. And we're going to put some of these on. Whack some more of these on. Like so. Oops, sometimes KSP does this. There we go. And we're going to whack some... I'm going to try and stay away from using these too early. I think they might be... This one's slightly more powerful than the ones I'm using, but I just try and make sure that I can do this in the normal sort of KSP mode. In fact, what I am going to do is, since we're going to burn all these at the same time, and they are the same size, I am going to actually replace these with these sort of rigid struts, because I find, oh, not struts because those are different, but these girders, because otherwise this is going to all sort of fold up together, and that'll be bad because it'll skew where our thrust is going. And I'm going to whack these on here, and this doesn't quite look like a real rocket, but this doesn't quite look like a real rocket, but I think it's good enough, frankly. And what I am going to do as well, that I nearly forgot, is I'm going to whack some of these on here. Whack 4 of them on like that, and have them as low as possible. And then I'm also going to have one of these, or 2 of these actually, just to keep the balance correct. You get rid of that, and that should be about done. So we should get out of the atmosphere and be able to land with just this. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and next time we'll land on the moon for sure. Thank you again, and I'll see you soon, guys.